Maya Lopez, aka Echo, is one of those lesser-known Marvel characters that I love and wish more people knew about. And since she's made her debut in the Hawkeye series on Disney+, it's finally financially viable for me to make a video all about her. Because no matter how much fun these characters are, we both know that y'all do not click on this stuff unless it's already popular. I've seen the data. Echo is an interesting and compelling character, and she serves as solid representation for both the hearing impaired and Native Americans. And while these are important aspects to her that add a little bit of spice and uniqueness to her character, she's so much more than just that. So let's get into her comic book history. But before we get too far into things, this video still might not perform all that well. So in order to pay the bills, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Amazon Music. This service has over 10 million free podcast episodes, including the true crime series Dr. Death Miracle Man, which is available 2 weeks early on Amazon Music. But the service is so much more, with thousands of music stations and top playlists to stream for free, no credit card required. I'm one of those guys that listens to everything from rock to hip hop to electro swing to even samba. And Amazon Music is perfect for me on my phone in my car or while I'm working out. For a limited time, new customers can try the ad-free Amazon Music Unlimited for free for 3 months, no credit card required, by going to amazon.com/comicdrake. Keep in mind that it renews automatically, but you can cancel anytime, terms apply. Sponsorships like these are really important for keeping the lights on, so thank you very much Amazon Music for supporting the show, but now let's get back to it. Echo made her first appearance in Daredevil Volume 2, Number 9 in 1999, and was created by David Mack and Joe Quesada. Mack had just picked up the Daredevil comic after a legendary run by director Kevin Smith, and to give the series a bit of spice, Quesada, who was both the book's illustrator and editor, told him to create a new character. Since Daredevil being blind is a major part of who he is, Mack thought that it would be interesting to explore his relationship with a character that has a similar disability, to have them see the world in their different, unique, but complementary ways. For his research, Mack read several books about people who had grown up being deaf from childhood, and the way that it affected their perspectives on the world fascinated him and influenced his writing. He also deliberately chose for Maya to have Native American ancestry as a vehicle to use indigenous sign language and symbology taught to him by his Native American uncle. In the comics, Maya Lopez was born deaf, and her mother left shortly after her birth. Her father was murdered just a few years later, so his business partner Wilson Fisk raised Maya like a daughter and sent her to a school for children with disabilities. One day, however, a pianist came to perform for the class. When Maya put her hands on the piano, she discovered that she could feel its vibrations and was able to intuitively play the instrument beautifully. Lopez was then immediately transferred to a school for young prodigies, which allowed her to explore her passions. See, Maya has something that's called photographic reflexes, which allow her to recreate any physical action that she sees. It's the same power that the villain Taskmaster has. By using this ability, Lopez became a world-class performer, showing off her skills in everything from music to dance. But if that wasn't enough, Maya is also able to duplicate the prowess of the most skilled fighters in the world, which makes her quite the combatant, and she was more than happy to exploit that for profit in the ring. Throughout her life, Lopez maintained a close relationship with Fisk, but if you somehow didn't already know this, he's also the kingpin of crime and is a frequent enemy of Daredevil. Now, Kingpin has known all about Daredevil's alter ego as lawyer Matt Murdock for years, and has tried to use that power to break him in the past. But at this point in his life, Fisk was going to need a different approach. See, Matt was mourning the loss of his girlfriend Karen Page, so Fisk sent in Maya to do some work for him. The job was perfectly innocent. She was just supposed to tell Matt about how charitable Fisk was towards her in the aftermath of her father's death. But of course, this is the Kingpin that we're talking about, so he had ulterior motives. Maya and Matt hit it off instantly, being able to bond over their disabilities and generally just being completely captivated by one another, so they got caught up in this whirlwind romance. At the same time though, Fisk had another, more deadly job for her. The Kingpin told Lopez that Daredevil was the one that killed her father, so she studied up on the techniques of assassins like Bullseye and became Fisk's new enforcer as Echo for revenge. But little did she know, the Kingpin was actually the one that killed her father all along. Daredevil and Echo clashed, but because of his attraction to Maya, he was conflicted about the conflict. Eventually, Matt revealed his identity as Daredevil to her, driving home the point that he couldn't have killed her father since he would have been a literal child at this point. Upon this revelation, Echo was able to put 2 and 2 together that it was Kingpin that had killed her dad, so she shot Fisk, left him to die, and skipped town. Maya felt lost after this, and in an attempt to better understand herself, she underwent a vision quest. And at the end of it, she was inspired by the heroism of Daredevil, so Lopez moved to Japan and created the persona of Ronin to take on the Japanese underground. Fun fact, this Ronin outfit was designed by one of Echo's original creators, Joe Quesada, as a new costume for his character Ninjak over at Valiant Comics. But the company rejected it, so when he came over to Marvel, Quesada decided to use it for this Ronin guy that they were going to throw into the new Avengers book. Now, whether or not the original identity of Ronin was supposed to be Daredevil or Echo has been a constant back and forth in interviews. But regardless of the true intention, bringing back Maya as Ronin is the thing that salvaged this character and put her back on the map for major comic fans. But how well that went is something that we'll get into later on. So in Japan, Lopez worked under the guise of a vapid party girl to eavesdrop on criminals, easily blending into the background as just another pretty face. But she would use the information that she gathered to enact vigilante justice as Ronin. However, Maya got in way over her head when she got mixed up with an ancient ninja clan known as the Hand, which was led by a Skrull doppelganger of Elektra. Knowing that Skrull was going to hunt her down and kill her, Lopez sent a letter to Daredevil along with a Ronin costume. Now, Matt was wrapped up with his own stuff, but enlisted the help of the new Avengers to rescue her. But they weren't able to get to Japan quick enough, and Lopez was killed by Skrull and was brought back to life as a brainwashed member of the Hand, because comics. Before the ritual could fully set in though, Maya was rescued by the new Avengers, along with one member, Clint Barton, who was wearing the Ronin costume, as he was no longer operating as Hawkeye. For more information on that, then check out my dedicated video on everyone who has ever been Ronin. It's actually a really interesting subject. Anyway, Maya let Clint keep the Ronin persona and join the team, defeating the Hand and killing their leader back, revealing that she was a Skrull, which led to the whole secret invasion thing. Look, I'm going to be completely honest, Echo really didn't do much on the new Avengers. I mean, she was with them through big events like the aforementioned Secret Invasion and World War Hulk, but she was just an extra pair of hands to punch stuff. Hell, even the romance they were setting up between her and Clint didn't go anywhere, because at the end of Secret Invasion, his ex-wife was revealed to not be dead this entire time, and he just straight up left to go be with her. Echo was a character that Marvel was really trying to make a big deal, but they didn't give her anything to do. She was taken off the new Avengers without much of a word, and was so forgotten that one of her few appearances was literally just to pop up for one panel and complain about how people just forgot she was ever on the team. Echo got a little bit more of a prominent role in the Moon Knight series, where it's revealed that she had moved to LA and was posing as a stripper to uncover who had been taking over the West Coast criminal underground. But when Moon Knight barreled in, guns blazing, she was forced to blow her cover. Echo and Moon Knight decided to work together on this, and there was a romantic tension that was building up between them. But Moon Knight acted on this way too fast and without consent, which justifiably led to Maya kicking his ass. This book was actually pretty solid, but once again Lopez was playing second fiddle and was killed off to further Moon Knight's storyline. But here is something that's nuts. Even though characters dying and coming back to life is extremely common over at Marvel, Echo was resurrected with no explanation whatsoever. Just a little bitty blurb in the opening page about it being mysterious circumstances. Now, don't get me wrong, I have looked all over for an explanation and came up short, but if it was in the comic itself, I probably glossed over it, because this was a book that was about a weird concert that was turning people into sound monsters, and Echo was able to bring them back to normal thanks to the power of music. It just wasn't particularly good in my opinion. But it's not like there would have been any time to explain things anyway, because Echo was completely underutilized in this period, only ever being brought into a book when heroes needed some help fighting bad guys, or for when the comics decided they needed to get a bunch of female characters in one place. Every single time that we got to see Echo, it's just been,
"And your host, me! I've been here the whole time!"
However, Marvel is really trying their best to make Echo more relevant in the comics to coincide with the character joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they kicked things off with a bang. So there was this storyline called Enter the Phoenix, where the Phoenix Force held a big tournament to decide who its next host would be. But I'm pretty sure that Marvel really just did it as an excuse to give multiple characters Phoenix forms, to make them into pop figures and action figures and downloadable skins. The story was mostly just a bunch of fights where all the souped up heroes and villains got to duke it out, showing off the various ways that each character could utilize the Phoenix Force. But ultimately, Echo was the one that won out thanks to the sheer adaptability granted to her by her photograph reflexes. And that's actually pretty interesting. Black Panther invites Echo to join the Avengers so he can study the effects of being the Force's host, But then, because of demonic shenanigans, all of reality was rewritten so that the Avengers never existed because comics. In this new reality, Maya was admitted to the Ravencroft Asylum for the Criminally Insane, but she had all of her memories from her past life. But instead of trying to go anywhere, Echo stayed at the asylum and used her powers to keep the inmates in line and also jam out on her badass fire piano. That is until she's approached by Blade, who also remembers the previous reality and is also assembling the Avengers to put it all back to normal, which they do when Echo and the Star Brand use their powers and combine them to destroy the demonic relic that changed everything. I also didn't like this book either. Oh man, police sirens must be mad at me for saying that Heroes Reborn wasn't a good story. At the time of this recording, that's pretty much it. I mean, she has a book right now that is pretty good that dives into her Native American ancestry, but with the MCU really trying to push this character to be a thing, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a lot more. Which is great, because I think there is a lot of potential here that has been completely wasted over the years. I like Echo, and I want to see more, but a lot of what we gotten, it's fine. But if you like this video, then why not consider subscribing, or even watching another one? And hey, that video that I said I did on everybody who's ever been Ronin, that's a real video. You can go watch that. So if you liked this, you might also like that. But anyway, I hope you learned at least a little something new, and hopefully, I'll see you next time.